What's going on, people? Them Common Sense Chris in the building. This is technically my first content for Common Sense Chris. Apologetics, apologia. Get me? Man's over here, speaker's corner. You looking there? It's turning up. Man's eating Cadbury's, dairy milk and that. But boom. I'm gonna be pretty much shadowing this guy right here. That's Big Dave, the Donny. We focus on him. Yes, we can. That's Big Dave, the Donny. So, man's pretty much gonna be shadowing him today, seeing what I'm going. Watch out for more content. You get me?
God has no beginning, yes? Right. As a Christian, do you believe that God has no end? Okay. So you said God has no ending. Did Jesus die? So was that the end of the life of Jesus? So he died. So that was the end. How? You said,
I'm talking about the existence of God's never-ending.
but you said Jesus was always God, yes? Okay, tell me, when Jesus was a man, was he just a man, or was he...
The first question was, wait, hold on a second. Can God die? Okay, you answered me. But wait a second. He was a man. When he was a man, what about the other question?
Was Jesus just a man, or was Jesus
Well,
both
a second ago, he
man
was both.
and God? So Jesus on earth, he was both man and God. Yes. So when Jesus was on the cross,
Was he both man and God? Yeah, it was.
so when Jesus was on the cross, tied up on the cross like this, was that man Jesus and God Jesus tied up on the cross? How can human being, creation of God, tie up the creator, put him on the cross, tie him up on the cross,
Let him explain.
and excuse me, I wouldn't like to.
I want to hear the explanation.
Because Jesus is Jesus is God and human.
So he can die.
So in his human form he can die. In his divine form he can die. It's similar to, I'm not a father, but I will potentially become a father one day. So in due course, something else can happen to me to make me a God, is God, to allow God to become a human. So he then takes on the nature of God and human at the same time.
So he's both God and man.
He's both God and man at the same time, yes. So he takes that on.
So when he dies, according to you on the cross, both God Jesus and man Jesus died.
No, just the human part.
But you said he was both God and man.
Then he takes on the form of a human, which means he's man, and then he's human dies. Because God to the side, stays in existence without dying.
Okay, when you say that Jesus was both God and man, you are telling us that at the same time, God was creation and creator. Excuse me, you came away from there. Come on, what's wrong with you? Is it your Christianity? Come on. Okay, first of all, you want to come over there again? Okay, you want to say something?
It's okay for us Christians to say that God died on the cross. The reason is this. You said, was it the God Jesus or the human Jesus? We believe in a singular Jesus. So whatever action the single Jesus commits, we can say that God does this action because he is God, and we can say that the action is via his humanity or divinity. So, on the cross, we can say that one person died. That one person is indeed God. So yes, God dies on the cross. In fact, Acts 20:28 says this, that God purchased the church with his blood. However, how did he die? He died by virtue of his humanity, not divinity. Is that clear?
But was
that
he-
even make
Is that
sense?
clear, Osman?
Okay, all right. You asked me also.
If you understand attribution,
I've already refuted you on that, by the way.
you have.
Do you wanna? Shall I recall you?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. So basically, you have the human nature and you have the divine nature, yeah? So there's a distinction. Can we agree with that? Yes. Okay. So
What
there's
is
a
this?
distinction. With every distinction, there's an attribute that comes with it. Yeah. So we have divine attributes and the human attributes. Yeah.
Yeah.
The divine attribute. Let's say, for example, let's use knowledge as an example. Yeah. One of the quality attributes that we can attribute to the divine is all knowing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The human attributes are not all knowing. Yeah. These two are opposing each other. So how can they exist at the same time? Because you're actually neutralizing each other's attributes. Is he all knowing? So what I'm doing, I'm not separating because I understand there's a distinction between the divine attributes and the human attributes. If the divine attribute necessitates all knowing, then the opposite effect is what? The divine is not human. If it's from the human attributes, I'm making a positive assertion that the human is ignorant, then it necessitates the opposite effect is it's not all knowing. But they oppose each other. So how can that single person then have I want him to respond. He's got a thinking mindset. So
Is the divine nature not all knowing?
I like him to respond.
Is the divine nature not all knowing?
No, he's thinking.
Is the divine
So basically, so basically saying that because one is an all-knowing part and another is not all-knowing, they're incompatible. Is that what you're saying?
No, because I understand that you don't make the separation.
Yeah.
You don't make the separation between. Can I?
He's
so there's a
uncomfortable with
separation.
you. He's uncomfortable with you interrupting.
So I can understand that in your hypostatic union, you can't separate. So I understand that, but this is distinction, right? So you can recognize the human nature and the divine nature, right? They're not the same. You agree? So we can understand that there are attributes that comes with the divine and the human. Okay? So one of the attributes is, let's talk about knowledge. So the divine nature, the necessary attribute is what? Is all knowing, perfectly knowledge. What's the opposite effect? The negative assertion. He's not ignorant. Okay. The human side, on the other hand, I'm making a negative assertion. The human is not ignorant. The human is not all-knowing. That's a negative assertion. But I'm making a positive assertion that the human side is ignorant.
Yeah.
Okay. But don't they neutralize each other?
No, they do not, because
Okay, why not?
because the person of God divine is much greater than the human form, and the mind behind the human form is the same as God. For example, I personally believe we have a spirit. I'm not sure about your belief, but personally I believe we all have a spirit, and the spirit is where the knowledge comes from. Yes. No? Okay. Well, I believe that as a Catholic.
No problem.
And so I believe that God's spirit, basically, source thing is the same as the spirit of the human body, meaning that the source of knowledge is the same. The source of knowledge in human bodies is the divine source of knowledge.
If I could get correct, okay, how does the human source get the divine?
There's a distinction between how God attained his human body and how we attain our human body. So our spirit is not, a spirit is created when we're conceived, basically. And that's, and then we don't have any knowledge before that. But God, he had a spirit and then attached, possibly not word, but then attached human form to that spirit which already had the knowledge. So as that
Knowledge is an intrinsic attribute. It's not acquired. That's for the creation. But you believe that
knowledge isn't acquired, did you say?
for God is all knowing all the
Yes, that's right, yes.
It's not acquired knowledge. Okay, so you're not taking it wrong. Knowledge is not taking it wrong. Knowledge is something that's intrinsic.
Yes.
Okay, so therefore, was he always all-knowing? Was he always ignorant?
He was always all-knowing.
So the question is, from the human attribute, is it all-knowing or not all-knowing?
Human attribute for God, Jesus, yes.
But can he attribute anything back to God?
By way of
So
analogy,
you mean, can Jesus have God's attributes?
No.
what I'm asking is, can you share
Your question
the
is clear
attributes
because
of
you're changing your question
Can you
because
assign that to the divine side?
No, because the divine side is greater than
Fantastic.
being.
Fantastic. So look, we're making a positive statement, there's a negative statement.
Hang on. So, I mean, the soul, like in us, can acquire knowledge through the human senses. That's possible. That's possible, yes. God doesn't need to work with he knows.
I agree. So when Jesus had the human soul, is that acquiring the knowledge, or did he always have the knowledge?
Experientially, yes.
He always had the knowledge because that human body he took on is not just necessarily that human body he took on is not part, like a new thing to him. As wrong wording.
Sure, no problem.
That human body is a. It's to be amazing God's image, so that human body is already hidden in some way.
I mean, all of us.
Amazing in God's image, yeah. No, in the image of God, it's like I'm seeing an image of myself, a painting. That's God's meaning that painting is that.
You're highlighting Jesus.
Roughly, yeah.
So why can't we be?
You're changing the question.
Why can't we be?
You're not asking the original question. You're asking more and more questions and going somewhere else.
Because he's got
What divine qualities did he demonstrate when he was so believed?
knowledge,
What was the original question?
The original point is, just keep quiet in the back. The original point is that supposedly, what's it? What are you talking
and he
to me?
showed his
I'll talk to you? Huh? Homie? Anyway, it's okay, answer. Listen, so effectively,
Did you know that Jesus?
I love yours.
So yeah, let me. I was actually trying to get that answer, but
60 minutes.
So
You see how he's moved away.
can I?
Yeah, I see how he's moved away, but I'm not interested in that. I'm just,
Yeah, thank you very much.
I'm personally more
So,
interested in defending
so
myself.
you had a reputation
I just wanna have a
and
nice
it got stomped and you move away.
No problem.
Nice job, man.
I'm here to test how much I know my faith.
Sure.
Same as well. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, we're having a nice conversation.
Keep testing.
guys, let's try to answer the questions that I asked though,
By the
because
way, just so you don't think I'm
Yeah,
just
no,
going
no,
to
no,
questions.
Oh, it's okay. I'll ask you some questions afterwards.
So basically, Jesus says in Mark chapter 32,
32.
I did say 32.
It's 22.
I said 32.
It's 22.
So Jesus says of that day, no one, not the angels, no man, not even the Son, only the Father.
Yep.
Now, do you believe that one of the necessary attributes of God is true knowledge? Perfect knowledge.
Yes.
Did Jesus demonstrate divine qualities?
Jesus in his human
You can't divide the human and you can't separate the human nature.
but they are distinct from one another. But at the same time, the same.
Why was your response naturally given to his human nature? Why did we say it was divine? Because you know instantaneously that you can't attribute ignorance to divine. So in order for you to try wiggling your way out, with all due respect, you appeal to the human nature.
there was no respect in there.
So what divine quality
Let's
did
see.
he? Yeah, you see.
So, in other words,
Conception's wrong.
so in other words, if Jesus, even in his human form, should know, because he's God and because that God is the Spirit, yeah?
Yes, okay.
This thing is a little tricky to answer that. Yeah, so you have got me slowly.
No problem.
But I think the best answer to that for me, and I haven't had that question for so long about it, so it might be I do change my answer one day.
No problem.
But for now, I'd say that God has the power to know everything, and therefore knows what will happen in the future. The question is, how is it written in the Bible? So do you know so when was it, who wrote it?
Sorry.
So who wrote that in the Bible? So who wrote the quote that no man should know the hour of times?
Mark Evans.
I don't know, because I can't remember the quote.
Okay, so do you know anything about the traditional?
It's going to change the question again. Just it's Martin Matthews.
Well, because context is important. So I do
Mark
want
Lawrence.
to double
John
check
Mark
context as I don't know exactly how
I mean, we are going to another topic. I don't know if we have time, but you're talking about the authorship.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about theology. I don't know if you have time. I've got to pray as well.
Yeah,
So we can carry on. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, personally for that, basically, for that question, I haven't really thought about it, so I can't really answer it properly.
No problem.
I don't want that to be an scapegoat for me.
No, not at all.
So I'm trying to provide an answer basically that it could be about context, maybe, the Bible. So without the context, I don't know exactly what it necessarily means fully. No problem. Because I do think there is something else to it. At the same time, God is ordinary, but despite God being ordinary, or not,
God is all knowing. There's a negative assertion. God is not known all known by humanity. And both not exist at the same time.
I didn't say that.
Missing out one.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
To establish a contradiction, you have to have a yes and a no, or a maybe a not in the same way, in the same sense. So, if you said, for example, or if we held to the idea that God in His divinity is both all-knowing and not all-knowing in the same sense, at the same time, in the same way, that would be a contradiction.
I didn't say that.
If we establish a very clear distinction between the divinity and the omnipotence of the divinity, and then the deficiencies in the human nature, then He is not all-knowing in the same way.
That's not what I said.
At the same
Because I
time,
understand
in the same
you
sense.
can't make a separation
So
between divine
it
nature
is
and
not
human nature.
a contradiction.
My argument was not God.
Simply
Can God be all
omnipotence
now, not at
is
the
by
same time?
virtue
That was
of
never
His
my
divinity,
argument.
and in Him being
That was
able
never
to
my
do
argument.
human things like speaking and dying on the cross is by virtue of His humanity. But the two of them do not conflict or contradict because they are held by two distinct natures, one uncreated and one created. And we don't cross them over. So for example,
that was
the
not my
human
argument.
nature is that is omnipotent. That's the divine nature. And the divine nature doesn't die, the human nature does.
That's not my argument at all.
It is.
It wasn't my argument.
It is.
I've had a think, and God chose to limit Himself by, like, in His human form. He chose to limit Himself.
Find out about dinosaurs!
He chose to limit Himself into a human form. He even subjected Himself to the suffering, so He limited Himself to the
Dinosaurs!
Amen. He got angels to help Him as well when He.
The limitation. Okay.
So basically, in the same way, He can choose to limit Himself of knowledge as well.
So what's the distinction between God and us?
Find out about dinosaurs!
Are you then attributing the divine to limitation?
Right, so He's perfect.
The exact thing I just said that he was doing. The exact thing I said he was doing.
Us who are not perfect.
The problem is he's too prideful at the corner.
He doesn't want to know when he's wrong.
He told me that I mischaracterized him. That I was saying. So my point is that he is kind of forced a contradiction, which implies things being like a P and not P or yes or a no. At the same time, in the same sense. That's when it's a contradiction. However, if we attribute divinity to the divine nature and humanity to the human nature, the characteristics that come from the divinity and the humanity are not mixing with each other. So, for example, Jesus himself is not immortal by his human nature, and he's not all-knowing by his divine nature. Those two things are delineated with the two natures. And then now, what has he done? He just said, "Oh, are you saying the divine nature is limited?" No.
This guy,
But then, here's the funny thing about him though. He'll come back next week and report that to me.
As a human.
No, as God.
does that work with Allah when he that's the veil?
How do I know?
Does Allah limit himself when he's
He has to demonstrate it.